Hello, I'm Leonard, Manton Curator of Prints, Drawings, and Photographs at the Clark Art Institute. Over these past weeks of the pandemic, many Americans have been shocked to see facilities for the sick and dying sprouting up in unexpected and cognitively dissonant places. These wrenching images brought to mind another image from an earlier moment in history in the Clark's own collection. It's an etching by James Tissot called Foyer of the Comédie Française, or Recollection of the Siege of Paris. This was an earlier moment when healthcare systems were overwhelmed. It relates to the Siege of Paris, which marked the final months of France's disastrous war with Germany in 1870. And the French army was so ill prepared for this conflict that private citizens joined the fight to defend Paris. One of these was James Tissot, who, along with fellow artist Edgar Degas, signed up with the National Guard. Now, before the war, Tissot had been making a good living painting portraits of society people. After the war, when this clientele dried up in Paris, he moved to London and relaunched his career with wealthy patrons there. But the grueling memories of the siege stayed with him, as we see in this etching from 1877. During the Siege of Paris, people went hungry and cold, and sickness ran rampant. In these desperate conditions, ambulances pulled up to the Comédie Française, France's national theater, and other public buildings that had been requisitioned to hold the sick and wounded. The Comédie Française is the oldest active theater company in the world, founded by King Louis XIV in 1680. Portrait busts in the vestibule commemorate the theatrical greats of France's past. In the etching, they incongruously watch over invalids, sick beds, and even the detritus of meals left behind, as on the tray in the foreground. Time has come to a halt. No visitors are present, although the nearer patient seems to gesture toward someone, perhaps a caregiver. His dejected gaze and the apathy of the man reading the newspaper on the farthest bed make it all the more jarring to think of the comedy in the Comédie Française, which boasted leading comic playwright Molière as its founding patron. This image reminds us that in times of crisis, cultural institutions are called upon to play different roles, and they do bounce back. After the Siege of Paris, the Comédie Française went on to some of its best seasons ever with Sarah Bernhardt and other stars. While we wait for the curtain to rise again, let's celebrate the strength and versatility of our cultural institutions.